Someday, in the not-so-distant future, it happens. The moment you realize you're ready for anything. Get a degree in emergency management from Jacksonville State University and be ready for where you're going.
This is your Weather Extreme video for Sunday, June the 1st. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Welcome to meteorological summer and also to the start of the 2014 hurricane season for the Atlantic Basin. Let's check out the SkyCam network from ABC 3340, and there's a look from Gadsden. And we see a mixture of some sun and clouds as the sun is rising. We take a look at the other side of the state around Hamilton, and the sky doesn't look terribly different as we see a mixture of sun and clouds. It looks like we're going to stay that way for the day with sun off and on and showers already occurring. The surface pattern across the eastern half of the country features primarily a high-pressure system over the mid-Atlantic states that is making its influence felt over the southeastern U.S. In the upper atmosphere, this pesky upper low that we've seen over the last several days is migrating a little further to the south and west from us, but it is still making its influence felt across the southeastern U.S. So I think once again today and maybe Monday we'll see some numerous showers once again as they develop in the heat of the afternoon with the little bit of enhanced lift that we get from the influence of that upper weakness, that upper low area. Surface temperatures this morning around the 70-degree mark for the most part. Some spots getting into the upper 60s and a few into the mid-60s, but we'll see temperatures climb well into the 80s, mid-80s for most locations. Again, the clouds make it a little tough on making a precise temperature forecast, just simply because if you get a few extra minutes of sun, it can make a few extra degrees in that temperature for the afternoon. QPF-wise, the atmosphere remains still pretty moist. The result is that we're going to see some showers off and on. Storm Prediction Center outlooking a slight risk area for severe weather today from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles across parts of Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota, and a little bit of western Iowa. On day 2, there's no specific slight risk area, but they continue a broad area of showers and thunderstorms over the eastern half of the country. We get out to day 3, and the slight risk is kind of reshaped a little bit across the central plains, extending from Illinois across parts of Iowa and Missouri into Nebraska and parts of Wyoming and southwest South Dakota. And the tropics, not in the Atlantic, but the tropics in the eastern Pacific, remain somewhat active with a somewhat disorganized area of clouds and showers and thunderstorms just off the Mexican coast that is expected to drift primarily northward and slightly westward over the next few days. All right, the 06Z GFS model run, and there's a look at the surface map for today. And once again, the surface high over the mid-Atlantic states making its influence felt across the southeastern U.S., but with that upper low over the northwest Gulf, we're still going to see some fairly numerous showers and thunderstorms. Of course, in the upper air pattern, you can see that weakness that's just off the Louisiana coast that has been keeping things somewhat unsettled for us. The weakness does get weaker. I don't know, can a weakness get weaker? I think it can. That's at least what it looks like anyway, as it continues to migrate a little further to the south, being suppressed to the south with the stronger westerlies coming in across the northern tier of the United States. And that should be just enough to reduce our shower chances a little bit, although Monday we could see still fairly widespread shower activity. Tuesday, the ridge to our west seems to push into the southeast from the west a little bit stronger, and therefore I think Tuesday we're going to see showers a little less numerous than we will see for today or Monday, but even less numerous on Wednesday as that ridge bulges in across from Texas into Alabama. and it should help to reduce with some sinking motion. However, the strong westerlies are keeping the ridge suppressed a little bit to the south, and the result is that the strong westerlies will see a front moving across the Ohio River Valley, coming down and approaching the Tennessee River Valley, but it looks like that front will probably wash out before it actually gets into the state of Alabama. Friday, we can see that the ridge has still suppressed a little to the south, with the westerlies coming a little further to the south as well. So that brings that front a little closer to us, but it doesn't really get it right into the area, and it more or less washes out across our area. So once again, the possibility of some scattered showers and thunderstorms. The westerlies continue to remain across the central U.S. as the ridge is continued to be suppressed on Saturday, and again, that keeps us in just a few isolated showers and perhaps a thunderstorm. By a week from today, we're seeing a fairly substantial change in the flow. The westerlies are still, across the central U.S., but we're watching the development of a fairly strong trough across the central U.S. that promises to drop in. In the meantime, the GFS is continuing to hint at some mischief in the tropics, in the southern Gulf of Mexico. You can see that low being forecast down there with a pretty good area of precipitation. Now, yesterday, the GFS pretty much developed that into a tropical system. Today, they're not quite as bullish on that. When we get out into voodoo country on the 11th, around the 11th, we can see a fairly substantial trough over the eastern half of the country, which would certainly signal, if this verifies, it would certainly signal some cooler air for the area, perhaps even some drier air. That would be nice with the high humidity that we've had. And the upper trough does weaken by the 16th, but there's still a bit of a weakness in there, which means it could keep us a little bit unsettled with numerous showers and thunderstorms. Well, that'll do it for the Weather Extreme video for this Saturday, the 1st of June. James Spann should be back in the saddle once again with the next edition, first thing on Monday morning. In the meantime, I hope that your Sunday is a good one, and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.